Hi there, in this video we're going to be building a Danage archery target, a full 132cm version with 3 XHD centres along the middle. So let's go and have a look. So when you get your Danage kit, what you'll find is that you've got two long HD sections that form the top and the bottom. And then you've got a long strip that goes in between, and then the 3 cubes with some vertical smaller strips as well. So that forms the whole of the target. And then you have 2 pieces of wooden frame and another 2 pieces of wooden frame that are longer, and then 4 Allen type screws. You also may get an Allen key, or you may want to use an Allen key, but we actually use a drill with a Allen type key part in it. So as this lays on the ground at the moment, we've got it kind of side on, so you can see the 3 squares in the middle. And we then start with the 2 smaller pieces of foam going together between the cubes so that they kind of bond together and you don't have gaps between the cubes when you're shooting at the middle. As you can see here, they go towards the front edge and slot in place. We then push those 3 cubes together to make them solid as possible. Then we get the long strips out, and you need to make sure that your long panels are the correct orientation because they have different numbers of layers on them. They're not symmetrical, these pieces. So then you just need to make sure you get them the right way around, and then just slot them into place by hand, really. Just push them in, and then you can actually push the pieces together. This would be a lot easier to do on a hard floor or a flat surface rather than trying to do it on an uneven ground on the grass outside. Now once you've got them roughly kind of pushed together, then you can start constructing the frame around the outside. Now the Danage PDF or build PDF that you can find on their website actually shows you are better off building the frame first, 3 sides of the frame, and then slotting the pieces in. The problem with that is that we find that sometimes the pieces of foam are cut slightly different sizes, and you'll find that the frame itself will kind of bow. So we've decided to do it this way on the floor. But if we were replacing a single cube or turning some cubes around because they'd been shot through, etc., we would just take one piece of the frame away and then kind of pull out a section and replace it, as shown in the Danage kind of build PDF. And I'll put a link to those PDFs and the build pages in the description below if you want to have a look at those. So the thing to do now is to make sure you've got your side pieces in the correct place. These ones have the blue handles on, so they are really good and useful to be able to carry the Danage and pick it up and put it on the back of a trolley or anything like that. So make sure you've got those edges in the right place. So the blue handle parts need to be on the sides. Then we're just a matter of getting a drill and the bolts, and then drilling the Allen key bolts into the frame. And then just carrying on all the way around and screwing those together. Obviously the hardest part is going to be the last part because it never normally lines up very well. You may find that you even need to pick up the target and loosen off some of the screws in order to pack the cubes closer together. We had a little bit of a gap in some of our cubes, and what I really got was a rubber mallet, and I kind of just gave it a bit of a knock in order to kind of push the squares closer together. Once you've got them all together and you've got them roughly lined up and you haven't got any large kind of gaps, which you shouldn't really have because you don't want arrows kind of finding their way through the target, then your kind of frame, your main part, is then complete really. And then once you've done that, you're kind of ready to build your target stand to put it on. Now these target stands are actually produced not by Danage or Danage, they are produced by Clickers Archery in Norwich in the UK, as they make their own stands. They're fairly easy to put together. Basically we've got one side of the stand that's already got string attached to the legs so they don't prise apart too far. Then it's just a matter of getting the Allen key screw into the top section, just as we're doing here, and then getting the other legs on the other side and doing exactly the same thing again. Make sure that your string side is to the outside. Next up we have a horizontal piece. So this is going to be the bottom of the target, and this will complete the framed part of the target. There will be another piece of wood going on the back in a moment as well. Great thing about these targets stands is there's not much to do, and everything's kind of pre-done for you, so it's really just a matter of screwing in a few screws. Then it's just a matter of lifting up the part you'd already made, the main target, and then slotting it into the frame. This can be a little bit tricky sometimes. Probably better off trying to get the bottom edges in first. It is a nice tight fit, and then it's just a matter of either using a kind of rubber mallet again or making sure the target frame is square in order to push the target itself in. You may need to also rotate the top part of the wood slightly as well, or loosen it off as we're doing now, so that you can tap in the target and then get it in and then just retighten it. And then that's your target complete. As far as Danage goes, really, they don't really give you any extra pieces to put together. The front of the target just slots into the frame. We find this a little bit strange that, yes, it's great for when arrows are going into the target, but if you were pulling arrows out and you'd got a really stiff arrow or hard arrow to pull out, then we think that the whole inner frame might then pop out of the target. So we go a little bit further with our targets. We actually get some L-shaped brackets, metal brackets, and actually then screw the two pieces together, so the front of the target and the frame on either side. Yes, it's another piece of metal that you may shoot an arrow into, but it is quite small and the chances of doing it are slim, and just don't miss the target really. We haven't done it on this target, but sometimes we've also then bought cheap pieces of wood, if you can buy cheap pieces of wood anymore, strips of wood as kind of a sacrificial wood around the edges of the frame and onto the legs slightly, so that if arrows do hit the wood, then you've got kind of an extra, say 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter thickness of wood around the outside that you are happy to get hit and crack pieces of wood, rather than actually put arrows straight into the frame, which can periodically need replacing. And you can buy spare parts such as new frames for the Danage as well, if you need to replace parts. And of course you can replace the individual squares or individual pieces of the frame as well, and that's what really makes the Danage a really good target, because you can swap pieces out, or you can rotate the cubes around and move them top to bottom, or move the long pieces to the top or the bottom if you've got holes in certain pieces around the center of the gold and things like that. You really can get a lot of use out of these targets, and they are really good value for money, even though they are expensive to start with. An added thing that we also do to our targets is add another piece of wood. This piece of wood goes on the inside of the frame, just like the lower parts, but what we do with this part is that we actually drill holes in it, 5 holes, and we actually have metal stakes that go in this which hold the target in place, mainly if it's a really windy day. So once this piece is in place, we'll then drill holes in it, and you'll see that we put red, painted red. They don't come that color, but these were just made up for us, these T stakes, that we put 1 in each hole in the legs, and these holes are pre-drilled for us, although sometimes we have to drill them out a little bit more to fit them in. And then we'll also add on a guy rope on the back so that the stand doesn't fall over on windy days. And the rope we will kind of buy ourselves, and then just drill holes in the stand and knot the rope through, and then just tie it back up so that it's ready for use. So there's the finished target from the back. So we've got the 5 red stakes on it, so 1 for each corner leg and 1 for the guy rope on the back. The guy rope is also on, as you can see, and then just tied up along the back. The only thing now missing is a flag, and then we drill a little hole in the lower part of the wood just to slot a flag, a wooden flag in, and then we'll also put a block on the top of the target somewhere around the middle, so then we have a hole for the flag to slot into. So that's it really. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon.